We did not wake up on the right side of the bed this morning. I've been struggling with something completely separate than all this noodle stuff. Hi, my name is Crystal, and I am the noodle system. We are pretty sure that we are an OSDD1A system. It makes sense because the more we read about that description of that OSDD type of system, which there isn't a lot out there, by the way, but the more we read about it, the more we understand that each alter identifies themselves as the host, as Crystal. They don't have separate names and separate backgrounds and separate, they're not all that distinct from each other. But I think they're distinct because I think they have a lot of differences, which causes me a lot of psychological and medical and spiritual. Like, I have a lot of conflict within myself because of the differences that they do have. So while I have a pretty high functioning outward appearance, like I'm going to work, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, stuff like that, internally, you get to talking to me. If you're my therapist, you don't know what to do with me. You don't know how to help me. You don't know where to even begin. And so I've been in therapy for over 15 years, off and on. And I've been consistently going to therapy for the last 3 years, every week. And no, nobody has touched on the possibility that it might be d.i.d. It wasn't until I was doing research, because I do a lot of research for myself, that I came across this diagnosis, and that's how we've been looking into this for over 5 years. And I have a really bad migraine right now. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is, it is a long flippin' road. If you're just now starting, I'm so sorry. I don't know how to give you advice or how to help you. Basically, what I'm saying is, I don't know how to help you with yours if I can't even help myself with me. So I'm not some educator of d.i.d. or OSDD. I don't have all these knowledges that make me sound all confident and sure of myself, and that's probably what you're looking for, is some sort of guru to follow and look up to. But I know, because that's what I do anyway. But maybe all I can do on this channel for you is just validate that whatever you're experiencing is valid, and we aren't alone in this. We may be having different symptoms from each other. Your symptoms may look completely different than mine, but mine are just as valid as yours. I know, my phone rings. That means I'm at work, because I have to work if I want to continue going to therapy, because my therapist is getting paid by my employer's health insurance. So if we want to talk about what I was just talking about a second ago, good luck. I don't remember what we were saying because I got interrupted with a phone call. I think when the body is distressed and full of anxiety and upset and shaking and just wants to curl into a ball and cry type of, I think it's a collaboration, a calamity. I think it's oh my gosh. I think it's a bunch of noodles trying to have their opportunity to feel better, have their voice be heard, have their wishes and desires be met. And because we can't have even one of us feel okay and front, we're all kind of scrambling for the podium to speak and do and be and have. And oh my gosh. Hi. We wrote a list of all the diagnoses that we have ever heard of that we identified with. We don't identify with every single diagnosis out there, of course. And when I call it a diagnosis, of course, I'm not saying we've actually been diagnosed, but I thought it would be interesting to put those question marks at ease by writing them all down and then asking each noodle which one they identify with the most. Because each diagnosis does not present itself 100% of the time, right? Each symptom from each diagnosis does not present itself 100% of the time. So we've always felt a mixture and a conjumbled up combobulation of all of the diagnoses and not knowing what to make of it. We just what? We just wrote ourselves off as invalid. We did. When we didn't know what to make of all of, how can we relate to this? 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 And it's not 100% of the time. It only seems to show up once in a while and stuff like that. This lady hung up. She put me on hold and now she hung up. So I was waiting for her to come back. I gotta call her back. Hold on. So, yeah. So while we're working, why do we work? Because it makes us feel normal. Makes us feel like we're functioning. Even though we are barely functioning at this bottom level. Some days we're barely functioning. Some days we're doing pretty good. And I think it's because I'm able to satisfy those noodles enough so that they can go take a nap in the back seat of the car, so to speak. But the ones that want to drive are really good at the job and really good at being mom and being employee and being wife and all that. But the ones that are good at that have agreed to step aside to allow these other noodles to grow and to process and to grieve and to work through trauma and all that stuff. And by working through trauma, we are discombobulated and we are all a big mess in our head and everything. I have been talking a long time. Let me just get through this list real quick. This is our diagnoses list. My apparent normal part, I heard of that term recently, and I do appear normal, is my gold noodle. She's just apparently normal. Nobody would question her whatsoever. And she likes to front when we go to therapists and doctors and all that stuff. So it's hard for anybody to recognize that there's anything wrong with her. We've got the overeater. That's my peach colored noodle. That's obvious that I'm an overeater. And then we've got our anorexic noodle. That's Mr. Purple. He's tall and slender and a beanpole, and he gets us so distracted and so focused, hyper focused on things we're working on, things we're distracting ourselves with. We like to distract ourselves with addictive type of activities that are not illegal substances, nothing like that. But we do distract ourselves to the point where we forget to eat and we're not hungry. That's our anorexic noodle. We've got our borderline tendency noodle, which is our magenta colored noodle. She's 13 and she's just a big ball of emotion, rageful, and just unpredictable in a lot of ways. We've got our narcissist. Yes, there's a narcissist inside. She's green. She's our green noodle. She she kind of lives in her own fantasy world. She's kind of got two sides to her. My boss just instant messaged me, so I messaged her back. And I might be getting a call right now. The next one we have is our autistic noodle. Again, these are not actually diagnosed noodles. These are just symptoms and diagnoses that I identify with and wondered why I've identified with so many for so long. It makes me wonder. So now that I've written all these down and asked each noodle which one they most identify with, the one that most identified was my orange noodle. She's just very emotionless. Doesn't need um, doesn't need a whole lot of uh, outwardly input to understand the world, and she's really like a genius in her field of what she does. And yeah, she can able to proceed without the social distractions, without the emotional awareness of what's going on. That's why she's the host. Um, all right, I don't have to take a call. Well, that's nice. Oh, now I do have to take a call. Hold on. I don't know where I last left off, but the next one is mute. I didn't ever consider myself having a mute altar until I heard somebody else say that one of their altars is mute. And I think I may have even said it last night. My mint green altar, my mint green noodle, has had a hard time speaking for most of her life. And it's only been recently that she's been practicing speaking, and she's still scared to speak. She's still unsure about speaking. She's still not feeling worthy enough to speak or validated when she does speak. So, yeah, that's why I'm honoring the crap out of her. You can tell I'm still wearing the same shirt from last night. We got the mint green walls, the mint green shirt, the mint green nails, the mint green hair. I got all kinds of things mint green in my bedroom, and my keychain and all that stuff. I'm really, 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 really trying to tap into this part of me that really started this whole journey, is hearing my little girl, 7-year-old self finally speak. Like, I never, ever, ever A, was willing to listen, and B, never felt validated enough to speak. Right? If I'm influencing by her, if I'm influenced by her right now, she never felt validated enough to speak, and I never asked. It's kind of like if you have that child that never seems to have a problem, and then when they do have a problem, they are afraid to speak up. So because you never notice, you don't even think to ask. I think it's good to have regular talks with your children, by the way. That is just a very random side note, but very much related. If you have a child that you don't speak heart to heart with all the time, you could totally miss some things when things are coming up, because they know that you're used to ignoring them because they are usually a-okay. Like my daughter, there's nothing extremely problematic with what she's going on. She's 11, right? But her brother is special needs, and so we spend a lot of time and attention and focus on getting him the help he needs, which makes us miss out on what she is needing in life, right? And that's the same with this little girl self in me, this 7-year old mint noodle, neglected, I guess is a good word. The next one is depressed. That is my cyan blue noodle. I don't think there's much to say about that. And then we've got obsessive compulsive. That's my red noodle. She's a little OCD type A personality. I don't mean that in a lighthearted way, like it's a thing. It's an actual thing, which is probably why we've created colors, which is probably why we've tried to put everything in a box, is because it's highly influenced by her. Speaking of my daughter, she's so cute. She brought me my salad because she knows it's my lunchtime and she's thinking of me by feeding me. I think it's a sweet thing when kids can take care of their parents once in a while and help out and stuff like that. But the dangerous thing about having a child taking care of a parent consistently, and I mean a child, is they might have some codependency tendencies that means that they are not getting what they need. Crispy apple Dijon. So I'm just really grateful to her for thinking of me, knowing that I'd be hungry on my lunch and knowing what time my lunch was. She came and brought me food. Okay. The next one is ADHD. I've been diagnosed with this before because it was problematic enough to go and seek a diagnosis. And that is my pink noodle. And yeah, that's pretty much it about that one. And then we've got bipolar disorder. That would be my maroon noodle. She has a lot of high highs and a lot of low lows. And yeah, she's not problematic like the magenta one, you know, where she's explosive and stuff like that. She's risk-taking, and she is manic depressive, really. Next we have cptsd. So it's complex post-traumatic stress disorder. This, of course, I think encompasses the entire noodle system. All of it is c-ptsd. That's my opinion, right? But if you were to ask the indigo colored noodle, he's the one that holds it all. He's the one that's most affected by it because he has a lot of the memories and stuff, right? Where the other ones are just all that reaction stuff. I'm not sure if I'm making any sense. Okay. After that, we have a ghost. Yep, you heard that right, folks. I got a ghost. I do not become a ghost. It does not front. It's just someone that us noodles talk to. And yeah, I don't know if I've mentioned this before. I can't remember if I have. I think I have, but I don't think I have. I bounce between calling this ghost a tulpa and an actual ghost. I'm going to eat my salad. I also have a supernatural noodle. And that is Lilac. We've talked about her and how she thinks she can see into the future. I'm sorry, you can see into the future. She thinks she can. I'm not sure if she can. It's still up for debate. We also have the spiritual noodle. That's me. I'm yellow. And I'm just really opening my eyes up to this whole noodle experience for the first time because I've been on the outside trying to better understand the inside gradually, and they're finally letting me in. So my beliefs include stuff like law of attraction, you know, what you think about, you bring about, stuff like that. And so I try to practice gratitude, and I try to practice, well, there is no try, right? Isn't that the great words of Yoda? No, I feel like I'm down to earth and everything. They think I'm kind of this, look at me, and I'm not trying to be like that. All right. And I'm pretty sure I mentioned them all, except for the last one. Oh, there's two more. I also have an introject. And that is my lime green one. And it's a prosecuting interject abuser. So I can't really give it a diagnosis, but that's kind of the description, right? This salad is really good. All right. The last one is my teal noodle. My teal noodle is a hypochondriac. She thinks we have everything under the sun. For example, this morning we woke up researching. We researched it last night, we researched it today, but we think that we might have symptoms of fibromyalgia. And we have already made doctor's appointments to go down that rabbit hole. Now, I don't think we do, but if she was fronting, she would be upset with me for saying that, because we do have a lot of symptoms that we can't explain. We thought it was COVID because it was body aches all over, but then it would go away and then it would come back a few hours later, and it was so intense and it was so draining, and it would make us crumble to the bed and go to sleep for a good couple hours. It was that debilitating, and we thought it was COVID. We went and got a COVID test this past week. Nope. Anyway, it's negative for COVID. Who knows? Maybe it's COVID 2.0 or 2020. I think I would rather believe that it's something else like COVID 20 or something else than fibromyalgia, because fibromyalgia just sounds like an incurable thing that nobody wants to have. So we're hoping at least maybe a doctor can rule it out, where I think Teal just wants validation for all these different symptoms and diagnoses that we're always experiencing, and she's our little researcher that tries to fix us and figure it out. And yeah, I don't really understand what we can do to help her stop that, but that's kind of what she does, so maybe we don't need to change her. All right, this has been a long enough vlog talking about pretty much nothing. Oh, don't say that, Crystal. Okay. Got hair in my mouth. I went from having brunette hair everywhere to blonde hair everywhere, and now I've got mint green hair everywhere. What I'm saying is that it's not nothing, because it's very much something to us. We very much appreciate being able to have an opportunity to speak out loud. If you notice, we're working a lot of stuff out. You know why that is? I think it's because of Mint Green Noodle. Mint Green Noodle grew up thinking we weren't allowed to say anything. We weren't valid to say anything to people around us, to even ourselves. Like, we don't want to be talking to ourselves all the time, which we do talk to ourselves sometimes. But we got people around us, so we don't want to be talking to ourselves. At least with me talking to myself while I'm on camera, if my daughter comes in or something like that, it looks like we're creating content or working on our YouTube channel or something like that. But really what it is we're just learning how to speak our truth as a system, and we're trying to figure ourselves out as a system. And this, for the first time, we're understanding more now than we ever have. So even though we've made over 1,000 videos that you will never see, you will never see them. I will never share them. They're way too personal, and I am way too afraid of all the backlash, which is why I'm glad that channel is hardly ever viewed by hardly anybody. This channel, on the other hand, is to help others. We want to help you. We want to help you understand that whatever you're going through with your plurality, it doesn't have to look like ours to understand your own. And we just hope that by working ourselves out, we'll help you work yourself out. And it really does help that I made a list. It really does help that I made a list of all my colors last night, and I asked each color to tell me what is coming up for them about going into the bedroom. Did you see that video? Click in the corner if you want to watch it. I don't know. We're going to see how far I can take this channel on the road, show on the road. You know what I'm saying? I like being able to speak out loud, and because I have nobody to speak out loud to, except for my therapist once a week, I really want a platform to speak my truth. That's all I want. That's all I want. I want a platform to speak my truth. So thank you, YouTube, for allowing me to do this. Again, I think I'm going to have a sign off. Thank you guys for watching. Remember, you are valid. Hashtag valid ID movement. Let's start a thing. Let's start a thing. I've been trying to start it through other things, but it's not taking off. Gretchen, stop thinking that, what is it? Stop thinking fetch will be a thing, or what the hell did she say? Stop trying to make fetch a thing. I'm trying to make valid ID movement a thing, so hashtag valid ID movement. You are valid. Let's make it a movement where we are communicating to others, letting them know they're valid. Alright, this has been long enough. This is when we want to start singing, but we won't. I'm sorry, Pinky. I know you want to sing, but you're not going to, so. Alright, talk to y'all later. Comment below. I want to know what you're thinking of me, okay? Be nice. Bye.